Now that we've got the vehicle raised and supported, remove your center cover, remove your lug nuts. Remove the wheel. Okay, so now that the wheel's off, I can tell that these brakes are garbage. You're going to take the caliper off the bracket off the knuckle, and continue that way. Remove the bracket bolts with an 18mm. Remove that bracket. Remove the rotor. If you're still using your old bearing, just make sure you clean it up so it looks nice and pretty like this one. Let's put a little bit of copper never seize right on this mounting surface. Time to get the rotor on here. I like to hold it still. I just use whatever scrap nut I've got there, and then of course the lug nut. And this just makes it so the rotor can't move around and potentially hurt anybody. Okay, so we're on the bench. It's time to clean up this bracket. First thing you need to do, remove your pads. Once those are out of the way, remove these tins. Now that those are out of the way, grab your sliders and remove those as well. Now that we've got the slider out, you can see that it's very dirty. We need to clean this up so it looks something more like this. There we go. These look great. Let's move along to cleaning out the inside of the areas where the sliders are going to ride. Let's put a little bit of this parts cleaner in here and then hit it with a board brush. Let's do the same to the other side. Now it's time to clean up the area where those tins are going to ride, and that's also where the pad's going to ride. If you don't clean this up well enough, your pad's more than likely going to get frozen in the bracket. You can use something as simple as a brush, spend the rest of your life trying to clean it up, or you can get a tool that looks like this, and this will be much quicker. As you can tell, that looks much better than this. Let's do all the rest. If your caliper boot's torn, you need to make sure that you replace it. For this application, this is what they look like, and they hammer right into the bracket. Let's remove this one. There we go. If you replace one, just replace the pair. With those out, it's a great idea to do a thorough cleaning. Once you have those cleaned out, just put a little bit of this caliper synthetic moly grease right in there. Grab your new boot, and you're going to want to grab a socket that goes over it. For me, an 18mm fits right over it perfectly. You're going to put this and drive it in so it's flush with the bracket. Take a look at it, make sure it's completely sealed all the way around. You do not want any moisture getting inside of this. Continuing with the caliper moly grease here, we're going to lube our sliders. Something that's important to mention is to make sure you get all the way up here, right where the boot's going to ride. You want to make sure you have grease there to help keep the moisture out. Slide it right in there. Give it a couple twists and clean up your mess. Continuing with that caliper moly grease, we're just going to go right along the areas that we cleaned up on the bracket, right where the tins are going to ride. This is going to help with moisture and vibration dampening. Get that tin on there. Perfect. Let's do the same to the rest of it. It's time to install that cleaned and prepped caliper bracket. I've got my 2 bolts. I used a little bit of thread locker because that's how I roll. Bottom these out. Torque these to 70 foot-pounds. Time to install the pads. Slide them right into that bracket. If for some reason you feel as though you have to use a hammer to get them in, odds are the bracket's not clean enough and you're going to have major issues driving down the road. This feels great. Grab that caliper, get it right up on here. I've got my 2 bolts, a little bit of thread locker, start them both in and bottom them out. Torque these to 44 foot-pounds. Clean this down. Do the same to the other side of the vehicle. Get the wheel up on here and bottom out all your lug nuts. Now when it comes time to torque the lug nuts, there's 2 things to remember, whether you have the regular charger or if you have the police edition. If you have the regular, you're going to torque these lug nuts to 110 foot-pounds. If you happen to have the police edition, go ahead and torque them to 140. Here we go. Torqued. Grab your cover, give it a loving bonk and a shake. Once you have both those wheels torqued, it's important to remember to pump up your brake pedal so it's nice and firm. And once you've done that, come on in here and check your brake fluid level. If it's low, top it off with the manufacturer specified fluid.